Okay, so I'm ready to go. I've got everything all lined up. I'm not going to bore you with watching it stitch out. Just know that the ears and the tail will come out, okay? Try to keep my big hands out of the way. Okay, so there you see our 2 ears over here. You probably can't because it's awfully bright. I don't know how to fix that. Let me take it off and I'll show you. You have an ear, and a tail. Okay? So in looking at the directions, I realized I was supposed to do the arms and feet first, but I like to start with the ears and the tail. So most people asked if you want to have your ears to be 2 different colors, either a floral print on the front and a fuzzy, or the fleece or fur or whatever you're using for the back, put your different colored fabric down first, and then put down your back fabric, and you would put them down as the directions say right sides together. So you would put your fabric down first and then your fur right side down on top of that if you wanted your ears to be 2 different colors. I realized this is the tail. Ignore the tail for now. We're just going to be working with these 2. The tail will be 2 pieces of your total fabric, which would be 2 pieces of fur, 2 pieces of fleece, or 2 pieces of flannel, or whatever you're using. Okay? Another thing I forgot to say, in the directions it asks you to consider stretch. So what I do is generally do an arrow like this, like it says in the directions, and I make sure that when I stretch my material, see how that doesn't go anywhere, but this way does. It's not bad. It's not much because it's a flannel, but see that stretch? I want to make sure my fabric goes down that way, not this way, so that my stretch goes in the right direction. So this piece is the tail, and what I've done is taken 2 pieces of the fleece, put them right sides together, matching my stretch, and I'm going to just stitch those out. And I'm going to stop my machine so that I can put my other pieces for the ears down. And we're going to stop right there, and we're going to put down our different colored fabric face up, and our back face down, again watching the stretch. It's going the right way, and put that down. And I'm just going to lay it over the 2 ears pieces and stitch it down. You can tape it down. I just find my hands right there are pretty cool. So what we're going to start now with is the left arm. And again, I've loaded my stabilizer, got my thread in there, I've got my file loaded, and here we go. Okay, so my arm is finished stitching out. And what we're going to do now, according to the directions, if we follow the directions, which I'm going to do, is we have stitched our left arm. And now, we've got to make sure we allocate for the stretch, which is, according to the directions, is this way. Okay, so let me go cut 2 pieces of fabric, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back with 2 pieces of fabric. I'm going to lay down 1 piece first. What we're going to stitch now, according to the directions, is the line for the arm joint. It's going to be a little tiny circle way up here. There is your finished left arm. The little dot is under here. You can't see it, but you can feel it. If I turn it over, you'll see the little dot right there. Okay, that's the little dot where the joint's going to go later. I'm not going to do the right arm because it's the same exact thing as the left arm, just facing the other direction. I'm going to tidy this up, cut it out, flip it around, and I'll be back. Okay, the die line for the right arm is cut. Obviously, the arm's going the other direction, and it's done the first section. So now we're going to take another piece of the fabric, and again checking the stretch, making sure it's going this way. Sorry, didn't write the stretch. It goes that way. Line up my fabric, put it underneath, smooth it all down, and go. Stitches the same way as the left arm, just pointing to the other direction. Back in a bit. Just so you know, that's that little circle where the joint goes. I don't know if you can see it because of the flare from the light bulb of the sewing machine, but that's the little circle. Right there. These are tongue depressors. Get them from the doctor's office. They keep your fingers from getting poked. Again, checking the stretch. Yep, we're going the right way. We lay down piece number 2, right side together. Smooth it all out. This is just basic flannel. My friend wanted flannel. A little flannel bunny, a bear with blue flannel. So we're making blue stars because she's a star in my book. And here we go to stitch the outside edge of the arm. It's going to stitch right along here and do a double stitch just like the left arm. Ta-da! We have one right arm, and there's that little hole where the joint will go later. Okay? It's all ready to go to be stuffed, zip-tied, stitched, whatever. Moving on. Okay, so I've loaded my stabilizer. We're now going to stitch the left leg. Pretty much the same way as the arms are done. Stitches out a die line, you watch the stretch, lay down your fabric, stitches the hole, lay down your other fabric, stitches all around. Okay, so we're going to just stitch that and I'll show you when it's done. Okay, so we're ready to start the leg. And one thing you'll notice is the stretch is now going up and down, not side to side. Let me just adjust this a little so you can see. Okay, so it's going this way, not this way, not this way. Stretch. Stretch, not stretching. Giving a little. So we're going to lay down that piece. Slide it right up to the top of my hoop. Straighten it all out, get it nice and flat. Tape it, pin it, however you do it. I just lay it flat and pray. And now we're going to do the same thing we did with the arm. We're going to make the tiny little circle for the joint. And then we're going to put the second piece down and we're going to stitch around the edge. And we're doing the plain feet. So I've stitched a little circle. So now I'm going to take my other piece, making sure that the stretch goes the right way. Okay, stretch goes the right way. I'm going to lay it down. Now if you were doing a two-tone there, you would put the first tone down and the second piece down face down, sorry. Put one face up, one face down, like a sandwich, but you have to do them separate so that this little circle doesn't show on the outside. The circles are all on the inside, which I think is kind of cool. So we're going to lift this up, fit that under, smooth it out, and down, and off we go. Back in a bit. We have one gorgeous little leg. See, no hole, but just see it on the other side. Oops, sorry. See it on the other side. Okay, clean this up, turn it right side out, show it to you in a bit. Okay folks, we now have a leg. Again, there's that little hole. It's going to have a hinge, not a hinge, a joint in it one of these days. That's going to be stuffed and stitched. On to the next one. I'm just going to go ahead and make the next leg, and I'll come back when I have both of them done. Okay, here we are at the fun part, the torso. So in the directions it says to load the torso file for the teddy bear and stitch the die lines on a piece of stabilizer. Again, we got to watch the stretch. So let me get my pen, and the stretch is going to go this way. Okay, so I've got it already loaded. I've got my thread, stabilizer. Yes, the light's just dimmed. We have an old house. So here we go. This is the torso. Let's try that again, shall we? All right. So just double stitch that line. Scoot it forward. We're going to double stitch here again. That is right there, your arm joint. That's where the arm joint, that's the little hole for the arm joint. Okay, guess what's down here? Yep, the leg. This will be the little spot where the joint goes for the leg. Okay, so we fixed our little thread issue and we're going to continue on. Oh, not again. Okay, we're in business. So let's explain some of this. Let me clean it up a little bit for you so you can see it. Okay, kind of looks a little like Alfred Hitchcock. This, in the directions, it says mark your top. So that's going to be your neck. That's the top. And it comes down here. There's your little dot for your armhole. Let's trim that little thread out. Okay, there's your little armhole. And there's your little leg hole. Okay, so we've got that. I'm going to flatten that out, make sure it's nice and smooth. Okay, so take a little pen, little friction pen, or whatever you have, mark a little T there so that you don't forget that that is indeed the top. So when you put your head on, you don't put your head where your butt should be, and that's where your butt should be. So there's your top, there's your bottom. Okay, I'm going to clean this up. I'll be right back. I want you to see the back of this. I trimmed here and here. Remember, that was the top, and this is the arm. I trimmed that little stitch there, and I came down here and I trimmed that out, and then I trimmed down here at the bottom. That'll make this next step a little easier. This is the step I hear everybody say, I don't know what I'm doing. You're going to peel this back like you're peeling a grape almost, but not really. And I'm hoping you can see because my hands are pretty big. I'm going to try to keep my thumb over here. You're just gently going to peel along this line. You're going to leave the stabilizer in the hoop, and you're just going to peel it back very carefully. Take your time. You're not in a rush. No points for finishing before midnight. Well, you do, but you don't. Okay, and I see I'm catching a little bit there, so I'm going to put my finger there. It's not rocket science. It's not earth-shattering. If for some reason your paper rips, or like I just noticed I missed a thread, not a biggie. You just do the file again and stitch it out again. Stitch it with a new piece. It'll say that in the directions. It says don't. Let me see. What does it say? It says the small gaps. All right, you're going to tape over this tear in the stabilizer anyway. So if you have to restabilize and stitch the outline again and do it again, because you're going to do something really cool. So hold on. I'm not going to get all worried about these little pieces here. See, I'm just peeling that up. I'm peeling it very slowly. Usually I would put it on my desk, but my desk is over there, and I'm over here. So I'm going to pull this out very carefully. It's sort of like my socks for today. We're going to take this, and we're going to put it over here for a minute. And I want you to see this mess. Not really a mess. It's not too bad. So you see all of that? We're going to use this again. So we're going to take a piece of stabilizer. Extra. I save everything. And we're going to tape it over here like that. And just a couple of little pieces of tape here and there. And my tape is, of course, not to be found. Oh, there it is. And is it the double-sided? Yep. Of course it is, because I need the other kind. All right, where's my tape? Where's my tape? Who's been in my drawer? I can't find this tape. All right, here's the tape. Just a couple little pieces out of the way. Move this out so you can see. We're just going to tape it there. And tape it down here out of the way. You've got these nice lines so you see where to tape and where not to tape. And just tape it up there. And that's maybe a piece right here. Okay. So that's that piece. Alright, so it says in the directions, tape over the tear in your stabilizer so you can keep using it. If you messed up, load another piece of stabilizer and stitch everything again so you're caught up to this point. So that means just stitch it all out, but don't put any fabric down. Okay? So, you're going to trim your piece close to this tack down line. Now, remember what we said? We got to know which side is the top. There's the top. There's my little T. Almost got screwed up there. So we're going to trim along this line right here from that little spot, say about that far, and trim all the way down here. Leave a little spot. Okay? Back in a minute. So here I am. This is my top. It's my bottom. Okay. There's my die lines. We're good to go. So now we're going to take this and we're going to put it on the other piece of stabilizer, following the directions, stitch other die lines, and we're going to go through this without stopping. Okay, so here we go. We're going to, as it says in the directions, stitch another die line. I'm going to put my hoop, but I need 2 hands. There. That sucker down in there tight. So we're going to stitch another die line for the other half of the torso. So here we go. And in the directions, it says, right, remember we're watching the directions, place 2 more pieces of fabric. Remember, we're watching the stretch. Watch that stretch. Doesn't do it that way, but it does it this way. We're going to take 2 pieces, right sides together, and we're going to place it on the other side of the torso, right sides together, and tape them in place. Have it overlap the line by 1/2 inch. So I just basically put the whole thing in the hoop. I don't care if I waste a little bit material. I'd rather waste some than have to do it twice. All right, so now we're going to do this side of the torso. Okay, here it goes. Remember what this line was? That's right. If you said that's the armhole where the arm post goes, you will be correct. See, why waste another piece of stabilizer when we can do everything on just the other side? Remember, what's this? If you said the bottom of the bear and where the close to the feet, the legs go, you would be correct. It's printing. It's sewing the same thing as it did for the other side. A spot for the legs and a spot for the arms. Okay? There you go. Okay, this is the next part. Let me clean this up and I'll be right back. Now this is where it's going to get interesting. Without taking this out of the hoop, which I'm going to take it off the machine, we're going to take it over to the table and we're going to trim right along this line. We're going to leave it in the hoop. Don't take it out of the hoop. Take it out of the machine, but not out of the hoop. And carefully trim right along that line. And I'll be right back. Okay, I left it a little fat. You probably want to trim it a little more, but learning from the bear bum that I have to still redo, I don't want to get too close with this cloth because it is a flannelette or something like that, and it's pulling apart too easy for me. So thankfully this is a bear for an older woman, so it's not like a 2-year-old. So here we go. This is where it gets interesting. First off, let's turn it around the right way. Sorry. All right, we're going to put the hoop back in the machine. I need 2 hands for this. Sorry about my big hands. There. All right. So remember we had a top? We had a top. This is the top way up here. That's the bottom. So here's what we're going to do. It says open the torso like a book. Okay, like we all remember what books were, those things with pages and words and stuff in it, not tablets, but old-fashioned books. So we're going to open this piece like this, And I'll tell you right now, something I didn't know, it's not going to come all the way out, and it's not going to open like any book I've ever seen. But you're going to lift up your presser foot, and you're going to pull it back as far as you can. See how nice that is? All right. I'm going to pull it back, and it says to tape to the stabilizer, but I like to use a pin because this is important. So we're going to put a pin right there, and a pin right down here. And it's way out of the sewing line. It's actually almost off the hoop. But I'm going to put a pin right there. Okay? So that's the first part. So now we're going to stitch the tack down. So this, I'm going to actually slow my machine down a little because this sometimes hums along and it goes too fast. So we're going to slow the machine down just a skosh. Alright, so now we're going to just lower the presser foot. We're going to stitch the outer line. Okay? Okay, here we go. Replace the thread. Let's hope it stays in this time. There we go. Now we're cooking with propane. And you'll notice the speed of my machine is slowed down, so it's a little quieter. And all it's doing, you're going to want to get your tongue depressor. You don't have to have one. I just like it because I don't like my finger that close to a needle. And you just hold the fabric down so it slides right under that foot. See? Nice and easy. It gave a little back there. Okay. It's going to come around here. It's another good reason to slow the machine down so that it doesn't grab this material and just go nuts. And I'll put my tongue depressor back here. See? There we go. And then we're good with that. Oh, poo. I have to... This is the line for the bare butt, which I have to go do before we can move along past this step. So let me shut this off for a second, do another bare butt real quick, and come back to step 6. All right, back in a bit. Okay, so I'm back with my little bare butt. I'm back with my bare butt. So in the directions, if you're following along, which you should be, we have placed the lines. We've done the outline. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our little bare butt, and remember that line that went right there? And we're going to take our little bare butt, and it's facing inside. And we're going to place it right on that line. Now here is where the tape comes in handy. I'm going to break out the big bottle. Hold on, we're going to get the tape. Okay, got the tape. Just happens to be blue. And we're going to tape that tail in place. I try not to get near the needle because I don't like it. And what's going to do now is just go over and tack that little bear tail down. And see, the line is right there. I'll try to see if I can zoom in just a touch, but I don't think I can. It's right there. Right there. And we're going to line it right up there. And let's go back out a little bit. Oops, wrong way. And again, I bring in my healthy, happy little tongue depressor because I don't want my finger near that needle. And we hold it down. And we stitch the bear. It's just a tack down. It'll pop it down harder or firmer when it does the whole body. But right now, that's all we're going to do. And I'm going to leave that tape right there just to keep him nice and taped down. Find my little scissors here. Because I'm going to cut these 2 threads right there. All right, here we go. You ready? This is the part everybody's having a hard time with. So we tape the tail in place. We stitch the tack down to secure the tail. All right. So, remember that first piece we had? Here's the first piece. Let me see if I can zoom back out so you can see it all. I'm going to move back a little bit so I have some room to show you. You don't want to look at the mess back there. All right, so now this is the top. See the little T? There's the T. That's the top. And that's the top. You're going to take this piece and you're going to open it up. Okay, see there's the nice little seam. You're going to line up that edge of that tiny, remember that tiny little straight line we did? That's the top little line. We're going to line up this little line with that little line. Okay, so I laid it on my desk, kept it in the same orientation so it's facing the right way. This is the top, okay? I'm just checking the camera to make sure y'all can see it. Okay, hopefully I don't drop the phone on the floor like I did once before. So that's the top. Okay, here's the spine, and then the bottom is over here. Pull that back just a hairball. Okay. Let's bring that down just a touch. There we go. Okay, now you can see the whole thing. All right, so we're at the top. There's our little straight line right there. And there's our little straight right there. There's a little bit of a gap because that's where the post is going to go for the head. So what I've been doing is just lining this fold up, this line right here, with that fold. Okay, see if I can zoom in a little so you can see that. Okay, zoom. Zoom, please. Thank you. All right. Oh, sorry. All right, see. Okay, so we're back at the machine, and I've got my trusty little tongue depressor, and we're going to just push that. I'll make sure that's all nice and smooth, and we're going to start, and we're just going to keep that, hold it down and help it. Now, again, slowed my machine down so it's not going as fast as it could. It's 350 stitches a minute right now, and it can do 650, which is great if you're okay, but when you're doing stuff like this, you want to slow it down if you can. Going to help that along, and I'm not liking the fact that that's going to hit, so I'll peel that off very carefully. I don't like wrinkles. I don't like wrinkles, not at all. So I'm going to hold that down tight. I hope I'm not in your way. I hope you can see this. It's going to come across and go right over that thing, right over that seam. Okay? This is why I like the tongue depressor, because I can get right next to that little foot and not worry about catching my finger. And now I can sit back and relax for a minute and just watch it stitch. So far, it's not that bad, is it? Now the directions say you want to make sure this hump stays out of the way. I've had very much success with the tongue depressor. So you want to watch it when it comes back over here. It's coming back down now, doing a double seam. You'll hear a change. It's hitting the bare tail right now, stitching over the tail for the final time, making sure that tail's not going to fall off. Okay, so far so good. So I have the joint. This is the post. Okay, there's the bottom. Now where did we have that little hole? I'm not going to put it in. I'm just going to show you where it goes. All right, let's put this down so I get a good grip on it. I'm going to just drop it inside the body like this. Okay, just dropped it inside. And I'm going to find it inside the bear. Where's the little hole? Let's see. There's the little hole. Oh, it's on this side. There we go. There it is. See? Right there. So I'm going to grab that post and I'm going to try to convince it to go in the hole for... See? Oh, there it is. Oh, come on now. Ta-ta. It's going through the stabilizer. That's why. There we go. Okay, so there's a leg hole. I'm going to just show you where that one's there. And right over here, there's the front of the bear. And on the side of the bear, there's the other hole right there. Okay, so let me reach over. And I'm depressed because now I realize this is the last bear I can make, and I had plans to make 2 or 3 more this weekend. And these are my last set of joints, and they don't sell them nearby. Unless I was smart and ordered more online, which I don't think I did. So it might be a weaving weekend instead of a sewing weekend. So there's my leg joints. I'm just going to let it sit and look at that. See? Leg, bear butt. Leg, leg, bear butt. So guess what? The arms would be right above the leg joints on that same piece of cloth. So if you reach in there and you look around, you feel around, rather. Sometimes I peek, which is cheating, but there it is. See it? Right there? That little hole. That's where the arm joint is. So Let me reach over and grab my arm joint, and we'll do the same thing. We'll pop it in the body, find the little hole, and stick it out. There it is, right there. There it is. There it is. See it? It's trying to come through, but there's stabilizer in the way. And probably a little piece of extra fabric because I didn't cut my seams really, really thin. Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me take a look and see what's going on inside here. Okay, so I found the little hole. And there it goes. It was a piece of stabilizer that I hadn't cut enough off. So there's one there. And then the other one will be right there in that little hole. And I'm going to reach up here and grab, I hope, another post. All right, and where did I say it was? Right there. So that's what it looks like. That's the body, right? Oops, sorry, I didn't realize I'd wandered off camera. So there you go. There's the body. Your legs are going to go there. Your arms are going to go here. Head's going to go here. And guess what? We're going to stitch the head next. Okay, so we're in the home stretch. We are at the front of the head. So we're going to load the front of the head files, and we're going to stitch step 1, which is the outline and the die line. And remember, we've got to the stretch. We've got to watch out for the stretch, and it is this way this time. Okay? Okay, guess what I forgot? We're doing the face. So if you're doing fur or anything that has any kind of nap, I'm doing, like I said, I'm doing the, not fleece, but like a, oh, I can't think of the word right now. Flannel, thank you, that's it. A flannel. So I'm not sure the stitches will sink down too far, but just on a precaution, I'm going to put down a piece of water-soluble stabilizer, and I'm going to take a second and pin it around the edge so it doesn't shift. Okay, so I have moved into the PDF file called PA-NITH Charlotte Bear Tutorial for the Head, and it's understanding the front of the head. So step 1 is the color line, I think. Wait a minute, did I put it down? I don't remember now. For the face, we did that. I switched colors. My machine says red, but I know from experience that this is going to stitch the eyelashes at step number 2. If you want a boy and you don't want the eyelashes, just use your machine and adjust your stitches and skip it. But I want the eyelashes because I'm making a little girl. So I'm going to put my needle down and I'm going to stitch out the eyelashes. Actually, it's stitched out a little circle. I think that's for the eye. Ah, that is, it's for the eye. I'm sorry, I stand corrected. This is for the eye. This is the eyelashes now. Step 3 is the eyelashes. And I cut my thread too short. Okay, here we go, stitching the eyelashes. If you don't want eyelashes, you skip step 3. Okay, these are going to be the placement triangles. See, there's a little triangle right there. I'll show you afterwards. There's another one. This is going to help line your bear head up. Okay, now we're going to come over here, hopefully, and stitch out the eye right there. Basically what this is the right side of the face. If I think anatomically it's the right side of the face. When you have the bear face, it's this side. It'll all make sense. It'll all make sense after it's all done. Okay, step 5 is the long stitch to fill in the eye, which I like. So we'll stitch that in too. Machine sounds like me at 5 o'clock on a Friday. Okay, the next step is going to be the eyebrow up here. Okay, I'm not going to do the stitch nose. I like to use the safety eyes. So we skip steps, let me just double check. We skip steps 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 and pick up with step number 12. So let me just zip my machine ahead and I'll be right back. Okay, so remember with the body how we peeled it away very carefully. We peeled away this piece and we reused it. We're going to do the same thing with the face. I'm going to take this off and I'm going to peel all of this back and put a little piece right in here and stitch the other half of the face. Back in a bit. Okay, so we're back at my desk, away from the machine for a moment, and we're going to do the same thing we did with the body. We're going to, oh, what a mess back here. We're going to trim all of these happy little threads, and we're going to cut that one, because we want this to be able to peel up, just like it did with the other piece. Remember how we peeled it off for the body? And we're going to do the same thing with the face. And we're just going to use some tape again and tape up the holes to save stabilizer, I guess. I don't know, but works for me. So again, very carefully, we're going to peel it off. Don't get excited if you lose a little. If it sticks and there's a little thread there catching, just snip it. And we're just going to peel up that eye, and then that happy little eyebrow. Okay, so we get a little bit of a hole there. There, see, would have wasted all of that stabilizer. So we got that side of the face. So, from experience, keep an eye on where your fabric is, because I put one face back together and it looked like he was really angry. Now look at it that way. Now if it was on the wrong side, see his little eyes? He would look really mad if that was that side of the face. But we want him to look kind of pensive, so that's that side. Alright, so we're going to put that to one side. Alright, put that up there for a moment, and we're going to take one of our extra pieces that we have, I'm sure we have left over, and cover up that little hole right there, and stitch the other side of the face. See? Just like that. Again with the tape. I put it away this time so I know where it is. So we're going to tape it down. Okay? Just so we have a nice new, quote, new piece of stabilizer to use. Alright. And I'm going to take this little bad boy out because he's in our way for now. Okay, let's go to the machine. Okay, so I'm back. We're stitching now step number 11 because we skipped some steps because we're going to use the plastic animal nose. And I have a 21mm black animal nose sitting off to the side. So now we're going to stitch the other side of the face. We loaded a piece of cloth, face up, right side up, another piece of water-soluble stabilizer just in case, and now we're stitching the other eye. I'll let you know when I figure it out if it's the left eye or the right eye. Now we're going to stitch the eyelashes. Again, if you didn't stitch them on the first half, you're not going to stitch them now, unless you want eyelashes on one eye. That's your call, it's your bear, you do your thing. Okay, That's the eyelashes, step number 12. Now here we are headed over to 13. That's again the placement triangles so that when we go to line everything up it matches. There's the little triangle, one there. My finger that close to the needle, and another one right up there. Okay, that was step number 13. And here comes 13 again. We're going to go back over and stitch the eye. And I'm just going to get that thread out of the way because it's bothering me. And that thread too. There. And we'll stitch the eye. Back in a bit. Looks just like the other one. Just on the other side of the face. Okay, so there's our little eye done. We're on step 14. And that's going to be the long stitch that will fill in the eye. Okay. And here comes the eyebrow. Step 15. Right up here. Okay. See? That's one side of the face. There's his little eyebrow, his little eye. Now look at the other piece. Now if you screw up and you put it right, it looks kind of like that. But if you screw up like I did once and you do it this way, he looks a little bit different. He looks a little angry. So let's make sure you line up your little, see them right there? Your little arrows, triangles, sorry. Your little triangles. You're going to match those two little triangles, and that's going to hopefully get your face lined up nice. Okay, so I've cleaned off my water-soluble stabilizer, and I've taken my pins out, and I'm looking for the two triangles. There's one right there and one right there. Now we have this other piece, which is the other side of the face that we did, and what we're going to do is take those little triangles right here. Remember, we want kind of a pensive bear. We don't want an angry bear. We don't want an angry bear. We want a nice, thoughtful, pensive, maybe a little sad, hopefully not sad, but pensive. I like pensive better than sad. And we're going to take those triangles. I'm going to try to see if I can line this up. Okay, I got to take my glasses off first. Yes, I wear glasses. I'm blind as a bat without them. And you're going to line up those triangles. See how nice those are lining up right there? I don't know if you can see that, but see how nice they're lining up? And I'm going to press on that because that's how I got them to line up before. Press that kind of tight, and then I'm going to go up and find the other triangle up here. See, there's the other triangle right there under my bad finger, and I'm going to just kind of flop that out of the way a little bit and just raise it back and ask it where it is. Hey, where are you? Where are you? And then it's kind of like right there, but I don't want to lose that because I like the way that's sitting. So I'm going to put a pin there for the moment because I don't want to stitch over a pin with my machine. That would make me very angry. Angry eye. Alright, so let's straighten this out, and we're looking for that other triangle right there. See it? And I'm going to get my big old arm out of the way. And there. This isn't rocket science, but you want it to be nice. Alright, now see, I pinned that in the way, and now I can't flip it. So let's unpin it. And very carefully put my fingers right there and smooth it out. Okay, you kind of want those to line up because you want it to look good. You didn't spend, what, probably an hour and a half now putting this all together to have it come out crappy in the last step. You want to take your time. Make sure that lines up nice. I'm going to pin it in the corners away from my needle. And you can tape it down along here if you want. I like to pin. I'm a pin freak. I don't like needles, but I can pin. But I like to pin them right on the edge so they don't slide. Okay. I know my feet are in the way. Oh, my phone just said something. I think I'm running out of juice. So I better hurry up and finish this. Alright, there we go. Alright, so there we go. Got it all pinned up. We can see his eye. What we're going to do is put this back in the machine, and we're going to stitch the let's see, we're going to tape it in place, and There's going to be a single tiny stitch right here if you're putting in the stitch nose that will show you whether it's in the right place or not. If you don't like it, undo that little stitch, check it again, realign it, check it again. Take as long as you want with this step. You want it to be nice. I forgot to mention one little thing. Swap back to your original color. Take the black out. I've got my blue back in the machine, and I'm going to stitch that tiny little line. And again, because I'm not stitching the satin nose, I'm going to skip steps 16, 17, 18, and I believe 19 and 20 is going to be that tiny little stitch that we want. Yeah, it's stitch number 20. So we're going to go over there and stitch that tiny little stitch right there. That's going to show us whether we're lined up, that we like it. And if we're not, now is the time to fix it. But I already know that I like it because you saw how well we lined up those triangles. So here's step 21. It's the last one. We're going to stitch that ahead, and that's going to stitch the outline of the head. And I'll be right back. I'm running out of battery, so if it seems like I'm going a little quick, we only got 10% left. And I got to find the cord. Back in a bit. Okay, you didn't spend all this time to have a bear with a crooked face. Not that crooked faces are bad, but you don't want one. All right, and then we'll go back to the machine, and we're going to do the real tack down stitch. Okay, there's the front of the head all done. We've just got one more little step, and it's the back of the head. And then we'll be able to put her all together and stuff it. Back in a bit. Okay, here is our finished head. Now, if you really want to be snoopy and make sure you got it right, open it up and take a quick peek. Make sure it looks pensive and not pissed. Angry, sorry. Okay, we're good. Eyes lined up, everything looks groovy. So we're going to set that to one side, work on the back of the head, and we're almost done. Promise, we're almost done. See, remember we have to worry about stretch again, still. All right, so let's do this. We'll stitch the guidelines first. Sorry, I missed that little part. So let's stitch the guidelines. There's that pesky straight line. All right, so here we are. Back to where I said we're going to put down 2 pieces of fabric. Okay, and we're watching the stretch. I got my stretch going. Wait a minute. There we go. Got the stretch going the right way. We're going to put the 2 fabric pieces down, like so. Okay, and I'm going to just peek ahead a little bit. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we're going to stitch step number 2, which is going to be the tack down. Stitch the tack down line that creates the center back seam of the head, and that's what's coming up now. And there's that little line up line. Remember we had the line up on the front? There's that little line right there that lines it all up. And then we've got the hole for the stuffing. And then there's that other straight line. Those are line up. I call them line up lines. Alignment lines. Okay, it's getting late and I can't talk. All right, that's the whole of stuff. Now, while we're going to leave this on the hoop, we're going to trim all around this area here. We're going to leave a 1/2 inch piece here to turn it into stuffing, and then trim all the way around here and then down to here. So up there, here, leave a little gap, leave a little bit of fabric, like maybe right to there, and then trim right along here. Back in a bit. Okay, so whoops, I'm sorry, I kicked the camera there. What I forgot to tell you is you're going to leave it in the hoop. Don't take it out. Hope you didn't take it out. But you're going to trim, there's your straight line right there, and you're going to trim really nice right there. Leave a little bit of turning right here. Let me take this off because I see you can't see it. Okay. There. See the little line right there? We trimmed nice in there. Left a little gap there. We trimmed it really nice right there. And then down here. Okay? So we're going to put this back in the machine. Okay, and move on to the next step. So we've trimmed. Now here comes the fun part. We're going to open this up. You can't see that. Okay, we're going to open this up like this. Almost like what we did with the front of the head. But it's not quite. And we're going to push this open. You don't want to pull it too tight because you don't want to pull it off the stabilizer, but just out enough so that it's open. Okay? And what this is going to do, we opened it like a book again, and it says to tape it in place. Mine is sticking to the stabilizer really well, and it hasn't really shifted. Watch this spot right here, because that was where your foot can catch. That's where the handy-dandy tongue depressor comes in handy. So what this step is going to do is stitch a tack line that runs all the way around the back of the head. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to hold it down with my tongue depressor. And we'll be back in a bit. This step is also going to stitch 2 little lines on the side, one right there and one over here. And that's going to be for, guess what? The ears we made way back about 2 hours ago. All right? So I'm going to trim that thread, grab my ears, back in a second. Okay, this is something I've seen as well. And in the directions it says if you have different fabric, see I have a different inner fabric than the back, you're going to put this down facing up. And we're going to find that little line, see it's right there, and we're going to line up the ear like so. And here comes step number 4. Ready? I'm not a fan of tape on my needle, but look at that. Got it, nailed it right on. Okay. Get my finger out of the way. Groovy. We have ears that are properly placed. Okay, this is going to be fun. Back in a second. All right, kids, we're in the home stretch. We're putting the front on the back. There's the front. Remember the front of our face? It has the little line right there. Guess what? There's a little line down here too. So what we're going to do is match those 2 little lines at the top, like so. Sometimes it's easier if you just push it to one side so you can see it. Okay, but just make sure you don't do this and then stitch it down, because then that's wrong. So we match that little line. Where is it? There it is. See that little line? Take that little line with your thumb. Find the other little line down here. And then just line it up. Nice and neat. Okay, put my fingernail on the bottom, and I'm about a ½ inch off. And I think I am still a little bit off. There we go. Nailed that one. So we get that piece. Let's just smooth this out a little bit. This is another part people kind of have a hard time with, because it makes sense, but it's not the way we usually do it when we've made bears before. If you've ever made one before, I've only made about 6 before in a different way, and this is much easier. I find this to be much, much easier, except I just lifted off my spot, so I'm just going to double check. Right, I'm going to line this up. You see what I'm trying to do? I'm going to line it up, and I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. Okay, so I've got my piece all pinned in out of needle range and taped in down here. Now if you look at in the directions up top here, it says tape everything in place well. I recommend rolling the face up like a burrito. Okay, now that's where the burrito comes in. I roll it under so that it doesn't not pinch, but get in the way, and then I lean on that sucker. Just push on it. You want it flat so that it doesn't catch on your needle. When your needle goes over here and over here, you don't want it to catch. All right, so I'm going to put another little piece of tape. This is what I get in my Christmas stocking, painter's tape, the big boy roll. So I'm going to tape that down just so that it won't get caught. And I'm going to push down on that hard. This is where that tongue depressor is going to come in really handy, because we're going to use it to kind of sit like this and just follow it down just to keep it mashed. All right, so I'll meet you back at the machine. Okay, here we go. This is the last step of the bear. This is putting the back of the head onto the front of the head. This is step number 5. Okay, down. And again, I'm going to use my handy dandy tongue depressor because I don't want to get my finger caught. And I'm going to follow it right up to there. Just to make sure everything stays nice and flat. Okay, we're doing all right so far. So far. It's going to get heavy because that's where the ears are. There's the ears. Okay, it's coming back around. Okay, so here's my little head. He's all done. And you've got some threads to clip and some cleanup work to do. I cut a little hole in the back of the stabilizer so I can tear it out or cut it out so that you can turn the head a little easier. I find if I had too much stabilizer in there, it doesn't turn very easily. So I give it a little poke. Make sure I don't have anything important that I'm tearing out or cutting, like, oh, I don't know, maybe the other side of the face, which I did on one of them because I wasn't watching, and I just tear that along there. Okay, let me peel out all of this stuff, and there's our opening, which, what did I do? Uh-oh, sorry. Zipped off the camera there for a minute. All right, so you see the stabilizer right there? You want to peel that out because that's what's going to release the other side of your head. See? There he is. Ta-da! And I think I might have caught just a touch of the tab, which, that's it. But here's how we're going to fix that. We're just going to go snap, done, fixed. I'm not sweating small stuff. And there's a thread that we can clip and pull out. We don't need that anymore. Throw that away. Sorry, I dipped again. So now we have a multi-dimensional head. Ta-da! There's our stuffing line right there. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I had to go over to the sewing machine and pull out a few stitches because when I put the two heads together, I had that piece, I had that piece pinched like that, so I couldn't open the head. So I had to undo these stitches and restitch them on my machine. So, one note of warning when you're putting the face on, when you're putting the head together, make sure that one piece isn't folded like that. That's what I just did. So now it's all fixed. So now we can punch out, flip out, turn out. It's getting late, I'm getting tired. Turn out the face so you can see my pensive little bear. And then I'll show you how to do the joints. And then I'm going to call this done, and I'm going to edit. And then we'll get it out to you guys. Okay? There's my pensive little... Oh, we got to show you how to do the nose. Oh my goodness, we almost forgot a nose. Can't have a bear without a nose. Okay, so one little thing to note, that's where the joint goes for the head. See my thumb right there? My finger? That's where the joint goes for the head. And there's his cute little ears and his little head. And he's got his eyebrows on right. I don't know if you can see them. Oh, there we go. Ta-ta. So let me go grab the joints. I put them away. Well, I put them over there. If you can see in the back, there's the direction of how to put the joints on. I'm just going to show you a couple because that's really, really good the way they have it laid out. You're going to lay out all your pieces, such as, like, there's my head. I may as well just show you now. There's my head. There's my body with my little bear butt. Okay, and there's a leg which goes on. I'm running out of room here. This leg, see, the holes go to the inside of the bear. Okay, so you know that. And the same thing with the arms, the little holes. Remember those pesky little holes way back 2 hours ago? Yeah, those are going to go inside the bear. And then here's the other one. Here's this other arm. And that goes like that. Okay, so there's the, hold on, let me pull this off. See, here's your head, here's your body, here's your arms, everything like that. The head and legs share 35mm joints. I got these from Amazon. And sadly, that's it for me. No more bears this weekend. So one set goes for the head. That's the washer and the post. And we have, these are the legs, so I'm going to put a leg down here. You can't see it, it's down off camera. And I'm going to put another one over here. That's another leg. And these, okay, let me explain how this works. You have a post. There's a post. Okay, you have a washer. I'm just showing you all three pieces. The post, the washer. Don't push this down, that's the lock. And the part that pops up, you see that little profile? That's the part that pops up. Once that is pushed down, you're done. You can get it off, but you're going to ruin them. You're going to ruin your bear, you're going to ruin your project. So make sure you've got, see, right, let me see if I can get this. See, that's the top. It's the humpy, there's a hump and there's a smooth. So the hump side is up, smooth side down. Okay? And how I did my, I'm trying to think how I did the last bear. I think I came down through the head. I went down through the head into the head. I took the post and went down through the head. I keep forgetting to stay on the camera. Let's move this over. I seem to want to sit this way. And I can feel it in there. I just can't get it in the hole. Alright, let's see if, there it is. Ta-da! Okay, now make sure we got the bear facing the right way. Hello, Bubby. We'll do his nose before we forget. Okay, and then we take his body. There's his body. And I'm going to stick my finger in his back, and I'm going to find that little hole. Yep, I'm going to find that little hole, and I'm going to put that post through that hole. This is the hard part because you can't see what you're doing. The hole is really little. See? Yeah, ta-da! Okay. Now I'm looking at that and I'm seeing an awful lot of fabric. So I'm going to try to mash that down with my fingers. There we go. I'm going to kind of try to turn it inside out too, a little bit. All right, because you don't want to pinch the washer. Okay. Alright, so we're fussing. There's his butt. Let's just make sure his butt is up. Now see, isn't that a good thing I looked? Because he's backwards. But we can turn it like that and poof, we fixed that potentially embarrassing mistake. And his butt was on backwards. So we're going to reach in with the big washer. Okay, that is the 35mm washer. We're going to reach in and squish that in there. Let me see if I can get this over. Alright, there we go. There we go. Now we got it. See how it's nice and flat and everything's all pushed down. Okay, we're going to take that 35mm washer, put it down, and we're going to take one of these little locking pegs with the bumpy side up. Now I find this very easy to do. I hope I'm doing this right. Something tells me I'm missing. Something tells me I'm supposed to put the washer on first. I don't know. That's a good question. If the washer goes on the bottom here or it goes where it is now. I'm going to leave it the way it is because to me it gives you two firm places so that it sits nice. Alright, so I'm going to leave it that way. If it happens to be the other way, then that's so be it. You do it that way. But I'm pretty sure that's the way I did the last one. Alright, so we're going to take this and, you know, this is really bugging me. I'll be right back. I'm going to do a little research. Back in a minute. Okay, did a little research, looked at the other doll. I did it this way on the other one. Okay, so I made sure none of my fabric was caught. Everything was, I'm going to make sure that's, because I moved it. Make sure that it's, you know, make sure it's all straight and out so that we get it. Now we got our face. There's our face, and our butt is in the back. We're good. So we're going to put the washer down, and then we're going to put the lock. Ready? Ta-da! That sucker's on there now. It ain't coming off. So hopefully, like I said, check twice, because we checked twice, and our bare butt was on backwards. Now it's not quite straight, so before we get too fancy, we just pull it forward. There, now his lines are all straight. Oops, sorry. Lines are all straight. Alright, let's take a second. Let me dig up some nose. I'll be right back. We'll put a nose on him. Okay, so I'm back. Here's our little bear. He needs a nose. He hasn't got a nose. So I bought some bear noses. These are 21 millimeter animal noses. I got them at Joann's, way in the back corner with all the doll making stuff. Now with the nose, because I didn't stitch the nose, I don't have a hole for it. So I took my scissors and right on the point, I made a tiny little snip. Very tiny. See, that was really even just a sniplet. Just something to get the post of the nose through. And we start from the outside and we push it in. Okay. And there's some stabilizer there, so we might not be able to get it through. There's the hole. And there's my nose. Let's see if we can pop that sucker right through. I see the hole. It's right up. There we go. Ta-da! And this is a different kind of finding. So I put it with the round side down. Okay, and again, once this sucker's on, it's on. Ready? And it's a toughie. So you got to really squeeze that bad boy. And I like to give it a couple extras. I want to hear 2 clicks. There's 1 and 2. And I think that's good. Let me turn him around, and now he's got a face. Oh, look at him. Isn't he sweet? Isn't he sweet? That little pop-up part right there will go away when we stuff him later. I'm not going to stuff him on camera. You guys know how to stuff, I'm sure. You know how to stuff and do a little slip stitch and close all of that stuff. I'm going to just line him up a little bit and give it a... That's done. Alright, give me a sec. I'll show you arms and legs. Okay, so here's an arm. And again, there's that pesky little circle. Good thing we had it, because again, we're going to take our oops, I hold my scissors upside down, I see. I'm going to take a little tiny snip, not a big one, just a little one, sniplet. And the arm joints are 30 millimeter, so they're just slightly smaller. And this is how I put them in. Again, we put the post inside. All right, turn it around so that the post is going to come out the little hole. And it's a little bit snug, but it goes eventually. Again, take your time. See, there's my little, pardon my band-aid, there's my joint. And I can slide my finger up in there, goose it up to his shoulder, and it forms a nice tight circle. I love the way it forms the circle around his shoulder. It makes it nice and, you know, straight, and you know your stitching is on target. See, look at how nice that looks. And you won't feel it when you stuff it. Okay, so there's his arm. So remember that little hole over here for his arm right there? See it? See it right there? So we're going to do this. Oh, what did I just do? I didn't check. This is the wrong arm, so we're going to flip him over. This is his right arm. But good thing I checked. There's his little hole right there. And there's his arm. Now before you put the lock on, just make sure. See? There's his nose, there's his arm, going up. So that's the right arm. Okay, same thing with the head. Sorry, I took it off camera again. Same thing with the head. Finesse it down. Finesse it out like that. So it's, and then you're going to put a 30 millimeter washer. Whoops, that's a post. We don't want that. I'm going to get a 30 millimeter washer. And we're going to get another 30 millimeter lock. See again. Ta-da. The little locking part's up. That's going to be up. And we're going to get it on and go one. There's one. And I got 2, 3, 4. And sucker's on. Ain't going nowhere. One thing about safety joints, they are not going anywhere, so better make sure you got those pups on right. I keep moving his head because he keeps getting out of joint. I like a nice straight bare line. So now we'll do the other arm. Same deal. Take the post, put it in the body, find the little hole. Nope, sorry, wrong. Put it in the arm. I'm getting tired, can you tell? Alright, so cut a little snip in the hole. I mean, you could probably do it that way, but then you'll feel the post sticking in the arm when you touch it. Instead of coming in like this, you'll feel this. So it just doesn't, to me, it doesn't seem like it would be right. You'd have this poking out that way, and it would be wrong. So again, let's put that through. Get it in. Sorry, I keep sliding off camera. Get it through the hole, like so. Push it. Oh, look at how nice that went up. Okay, push that one in. Now we go over and put the arm in the little hole right there. See it? See that little hole right there? And since we've already been in it once, it's opened. See, this is why we got to check once in a while, so we don't do it backwards. All right. This is the hardest. I think this is the hardest part. The joints are the hardest part of the whole thing. I mean, not even the torso or any of that stuff is really that tough. This is a pain in the rear end because you can screw it up so easily. All right, so we are doing an arm, right? So we're going to take one of those 30 millimeter washers again, pop it on, and one of the little locking discs, if I can get one. Remember, with the bumpy side up. Ready? And then we're going to squeeze. 4. I counted. And then we'll pull it through the body. And there, he's got 2 arms. Look at that. He's shaping up quite nicely. I think Sally, my gal's going to like this little guy. So now all that's left is the legs. And I'm going to leave you with the, just stuff it and zip it closed. And post it online. All right? I'll be back in a minute to do legs. Okay, so I'm back to put a leg on, and the only thing with the legs really is that the hole, the little circle, goes on the inside. Okay, same deal. You find the hole, push it in. All right, and then you gotta find the post on the inside. This is a little harder because he's at the bottom of the bear, and there's a lot going on. So I find myself just using my fingers and pulling out all the extra fabric. Again, this is a 30, this is head and leg, this is a 35 millimeter joint. And just reaching in there and on faith, hoping that I don't have anything in the way. There's my lock, and I just click it a little, then let it droop so that I can see that it's not going to catch something I don't want it to, and then push. That's all there is to the joint. And good thing it came out right, because I didn't check to see if it was facing the right way. So it's a good thing I came out right. So let's give him another leg, and he'll be done, except for stuffing and closing, and which I'll do off camera. I'm not going to bore you with that. So just to remind you, we're going to cut a little snip in the hole. Okay, cut a little snip, and then we're going to put the 30 millimeter, nope, 35 on the legs. And that's going to go through the hole. Oh, sorry, I went off camera again. Through the hole and around the fabric, and nice and easy around that nice leg. And then let's see, where's our little hole? I flipped him around so much I lost the little hole. There it is, I see it. I know you don't, but I do. It's right there. So yeah, I'm going to stick my finger in his belly. He needs a belly button, I think. I don't know. And once again, we're going to, see, push that through. Let's see if we can Sorry about going off the camera, I keep forgetting. See if we can do that. Pinch that through and straighten it out, flatten it out. So get a nice joint. There's the washer. And there's the lock with the bumpy side up. Clip just to make sure we don't have anything, and then give it a good squeeze. I don't find these to be very hard to put on. I've had some that just about broke your fingers trying to get them on. You had to get pliers and had to get a hammer. I don't want to have to get a hammer to make a teddy bear. Okay, so there you go. He's all done. Ta-da. Let me zoom. Let's see, how do I zoom out? That is, oh, that is out. Oops, sorry. It's extreme close up. So that's him in a nutshell. So just go ahead, stuff him. Remember to zip up the back of his head, stuff his arms, zip up the back, and use a ladder stitch. If you don't know how to do that, there's a ton of YouTubes. That's where I found out how to do a ladder stitch. And there you go. He's all done. Enjoy. This is, I'm going to call him Charlie because it's a, well, it could be Charlotte. He's going to get a little dress later, but I'm not going to video that. All right, enjoy. Thanks.